Assalamu alaikum guys, welcome to another Dragon Ball FighterZ character breakdown. This time breaking down Violence Incarnation himself, Dragon Ball Super Broly, or in short Super Broly or S Broly. So without further ado, let's get into it. So going through the usual template of specials, buttons and Blockstring, neutral, and then capping off with assist. So the first special is going to be the Raging Quake, the quarter circle forward attack button. This is the only move in Broly's arsenal which is performable both in the air and on the ground. This is probably the best move in Broly's arsenal, as this allows him to end his Blockstring in a safe fashion, as both the fastest variants, both light and the EX, are fast enough, 15 frames of startup, and is -5 on block. All of the variants are -5 on block, but this allows for him to get a true Blockstring and end in a safe fashion. Only the medium variant is too slow for the florid, starting at 21 frames, so that isn't part of a true Blockstring. Like its name, it has two parts of the move. First is just the physical part, where he just punches the ground or the character, and then there's the quake part, which he, as the name suggests, Raging Quake, he actually sends a quake to the ground. This is like a pseudo beam. The light version's quake reach somewhere about 55%. You can make it hit from 55%. Both the EX variant and the medium variant, both have like full screen reaching quake. And these properties are true for both air and the ground, just to be clear. All of the variants of Raging Quake have a hit confirm animation, but the light variant actually does not give you any sort of like wall bounce or anything. It's simply just a hit confirmation. The medium does give you a wall bounce large enough to be converted only in the corner, and the EX variant does give you a ground bounce large enough to be converted anywhere in the corner, I mean anywhere on the screen. The aerial variants also will give you a hit confirm animation, but none of the variants give a wall bounce or ground bounce any of the sort for solo conversion. Only the EX variant does, giving you a large enough conversion for a jumping light medium to normal conversion. Otherwise, none of the other variants will give you any sort of solo conversion. You'll have to use an assist after the move hit, and none of the variants will give you any sort of like sliding knockdown. That is true for whether the air or medium, but it does give you a sort of a soft knockdown, but not that reliable in my opinion. So yeah, that'll do it for Raging Quake. The next special is the quarter circle back attack button special. This is the Gigantic Fury. Interesting name for a command grab. This is Super Broly's command grab. The light command grab starts up at 24 frames, pretty standard for a command grab. It does not have that much range, however, like it's practically point blank. Like you can get the command grab to hit from like about 5% of the screen. So it's pretty standard as well. On hit, it does give you a wall. There is a hit confirm animation and there is a slight wall bounce, but it is not possible to convert normally without an assist mid-screen. But in the corner, it does give you a wall bounce enough, like you can easily convert, and this is true for all variants. And also, what is also true for all variants is that if you haven't already used the command grab like for a combo already, then after you finish a combo, you can use the command grab to like get a sliding knockdown, a normal sliding knockdown. So that's that. But if you have already used it for to start the combo, then you won't be able to use the command grab again to finish the combo. But I think this rule should be accepted for like EXE, PTED for like Super Broly, since like his tools are already limited. Why would you limit it by like one command grab to like per combo? It doesn't really suit him, because like he doesn't have any other option to like finish his combo if you go the normal route. So I don't know, I think it should be changed. The medium variant is an anti-air variant, and it's a pretty fast one at that, starting at 12 frames, and has like a really good hitbox as well. The vertical reach for this move is also great, considering that this is a ground move. This catches people like just a bit below the super jump height. The on hit interaction and side knockdown properties are the same as the light variant. Last but not least, this is the EX variant. The EX variant is actually mixed with both. That means both the ground variant and the anti-air command grab is built in, and depending on the situation, it switches to either one. If you approach a grounded opponent and then do the move, then you'll get the light variant of the grab. Same startup as well with 24 frames, and it also gives you a really good ground bounce to convert anywhere on the screen. So that's also special about it. Normally you'll be able to reach from like about 15% with this command grab, 15% of the screen, which is pretty good. But with momentum, the range can be buffed to like about 30%. So I don't know how that also applies to a command grab as well, but for Super Bully it does apply. The anti-air variant is actually the same. It also catches at the same height, like just a bit below the super jump height. And as I said, like you also get a really good ground bounce to convert anywhere on the screen. All the variants of the command grab have like least amount. I have low recovery, like at 45 frames. That is the maximum one, and like for the EX variant is the same. But the EX variant switches between the medium and the light. So like the light variant is actually has the lowest amount of recovery at -37 frames. Other command grab, like other characters with like a singular command grab have like a lot more recovery, but compared to that, Super Bully recovers much more earlier. Like Super Saiyan for Gogeta, for example, has like 60 frames of recovery from his command grab, so you can understand that much. Onto the special button. First is the quarter circle forward special button. This is the eraser blow. Broly sends out a diagonal projectile. This move is this move also has a single hit of armor, being able to armor through every sort of move, even from beams to Ki Blast. Actually has full invincibility on Ki Blast. Ki Blast don't even touch him, but physical attacks will zap out of the armor, and like will also zap out his health a bit. This move also starts up at 17 frames, therefore not a product of a true block string, and -5 on block, has a really good pushback, and also on hit will give you a good enough sliding knockdown, but the sliding knockdown will always be a cross-up sliding knockdown. So that's a kind of a bummer, but in situation you might be able to. That might be a blessing, and and you can get this sliding knockdown if you do still possess both the. If you still possess either the smash animation or the sliding knockdown animation, and anywhere on the screen it also gives you a really good pushback, therefore making it much harder to challenge with a normal button. They'll have to risk it on a medium, but against Super Bully, frankly speaking, that's nothing more. That's not that much of a problem, since all of his buttons are like too slow to like counter others. Since the projectile travels diagonally from full screen, this move can catch people on super jump height. As you move closer, the range gets lower and lower, and from mid screen you can hit a standing still opponent, like from 50% of the screen, or a bit more. I'd say about like 60% of the screen you can hit a standing opponent, but 50% is your best bet, and so you'll have to remember that. And since it can tank any sort of move, like it's only a single hit of armor, so it can also like go through beams of like Gogeta Blue, Base Goku, and other sort of characters that have like a single hit beam. So he can actually tank through those, which is kind of hilarious, not gonna lie. So, and also as I said before, like it's actually a full Ki Blast invincible, so they'll not be able to do anything. I mean, he can tank through both of the fusions at once if they're like all in sync. So that's actually kinda, not gonna lie, a bit therapeutic, I'd say, for a lot of people. So yeah, that's another thing. But he does tank it, so that means that he will take a bit of damage, and it's a single hit of armor, so you'll have to be careful about that as well. He can be swatted out of the animation by pressing too many buttons at the same time. So yeah, I mean, it's a really good block string ender, but it is 17 frames, so it is not part of a true block string. But if they do manage to block it, then on hit is actually got a really good pushback. Plus also it's also true on Blanish as well, so that's also a really good thing that you can get for this. Another quarter circle back special, this is the gigantic hip. This is also a command grab starting at 16 frames just, so that's actually a kind of new, not gonna lie, like 16 frame command grab for Broly. Are we kidding? But it comes with the caveat of being that only you can use this command grab only on standing opponents. Crouching opponents, this does not work. This is like same as like base Vegeta. If you do know that, on hit you can get a super dash confirm, and the super dash confirm can easily be also confirmed into a sliding knockdown just by doing a normal route, finishing with a heavy. But if you use your command grab smash animation, or like or you are doing this move after Dragon Rush or something, then you will not be able to use this move. And the special thing about this move is that it can pick up sliding out on opponents, and then you can even you can extend the combo even further with that. So that is the special trade-off for the move not working on a standing opponent, which is bad. Like Broly could have really used a 16 frame command grab with in his toolkit, but yeah. That's like the special thing. You can add extra bit of damage after ending a combo with a sliding knockdown or a sliding knockdown. So yeah, that's about it for gigantic heap. So on to like some sort of like secondary specials. These aren't like exactly specials as they do not have like quarter circle input. They are more of a button extension. The first one would be the down special, which is the beam for Super Broly. This is called Blockstring, and according to his assist. So didn't actually know that, but yeah. This is Super Broly's beam. It starts at 24 frames, one of the slowest beams in the game, and but the special thing about this move is that it has special block stun like Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta, and that it has enough block stun to be able to confirm with the super dash in the corner, of course, because if the distance is great, then he won't be able to do that. And on hit you will also be able to confirm it with the super dash. So that's the special thing about it. And since it's a button extension, you can actually vanish it out of its starting animation, or cancel out into the heavy buttons or any of the specials. So of course if it hits, but if it whips, then you're in big trouble because it has a lot of recovery. So yeah, be careful of that. On to the last one. This is going to be the forward heavy. The forward heavy is the headbutt. The move is called headbutt because he literally just headbutts people. It is also another command grab starting at 20 frames, which is like really sad considering. Come on, give him a faster command grab. Like Z only has like whatever for like command grabs and stuff. The caveat for this move is that this move can be only done after the light and the medium buttons. After the specials or the beam or anything else, you cannot do this move, even after Ki Blast. So that's a bummer. You can only do it after in a Blockstring. You can do it only after the light or medium buttons. So you'll also have to be careful of that. But another impressive thing about this move is that on standing it can actually reach from 50% of the screen. Like this is, I think, one of the furthest reaching command grab in the game. 50% to 60% of the screen, depending, I mean, on the characters and the character size. But 60% of the screen, I'd say, is about the right one. And with the momentum, you can actually even increase the distance for even further to like about 60% of the screen consistently. I mean, like 65% of the screen. So if your opponent is in a juggle state, then you can get easy combo conversions using your using the fastest button, like that is basically crouching right. But if the opponent is not in a juggle state, then you won't be able to do a normal combo, or like it is in the combo if they are not in a juggle state or their feet is still touching the ground. But if their feet is still touching the ground, then you can actually combo with the Ki Blast or the heavy buttons, which is like a weird sort of limitation to this move. I don't know why they thought that it was why Super Broly needed this limitation. I don't understand. You can also confirm into the eraser blow, but other than that, none of the, and they'll be able to block anything that comes after the command grab. So I don't really understand why this limitation is there in the first place. And like his heavy is fast enough, or the Ki Blast can be used in a combo, but his light, which is the fastest move in his arsenal, cannot be done in a combo. I really don't understand this limitation. So, but the devs thought that it's a limitation that he needs or something. Even the eraser blow connects, like the eraser blow connects. I don't understand this, but yeah, it's a limitation in his toolset. You'll have to be careful about that. Under Broly's buttons, this is the part where he suffers the most, as none of his buttons are actually safe. That means if your opponent presses buttons immediately after blocking one of your jab or something, they'll be able to hit you, because none of them are 5 frames, which is sad. Anything above 5 frames, those moves can be mashed up on. That means if they challenge immediately, they will get hit. So that's a sad reality for Super Broly, and he does not have like any buttons that can block a jab after being blocked. So that is sad. except the Raging Quake and like Eraser Blow, or the other those two, he doesn't have any sort of safe button, but they are safe enough that they can block a DP in time. First is the crouching light. This is the fastest button in Super Police Arsenal, starting at 6 frames and has a disadvantage of -8. That means you'll be able to block a DP as I showed you before, but an immediate challenge with a jab is unblockable. But although while being impaired with -8 frame and not being a low and not having much range, it has a really good vertical reach, like a vertical reach of like above the jump height, and just a bit below super jump. So it's impressive in that regard. But other than that, like this move has like doesn't have that much going for it, and therefore this can be used for some like really good workout options where you can get meaty setups for this. So something like that is a meaty setup for Super Volley using the crouching light. So yeah, that's the I'd say best use case of this button. But he has other meaty setup which includes like using the super jump stuff. But yeah, this is the easier version. And then onto his light auto combo. This is the curious case of light auto combo not having three moves in his in the auto combo, which is sad. And after you have done the second hit, for the second hit there is a hit confirm animation, which is the third hit of the auto combo, but it cannot be done in a whip, so or in block. So yeah, he's the only one. The first hit, the jab, it has a 10 frame startup and is -7 on block. That is also unblockable if they challenge immediately with the jab. But I'd say this is probably the farthest reaching jab in the game, being able to reach from like round start distance and a bit further. No, round start distance is the farthest it can reach, making it like about 25% of the screen. Standing and with momentum it can reach from about 50% of the screen. So that is also a pretty good pretty good quality for a jab, but the fact that it's like 10 frame of startup doesn't really help. Yeah, it can reach from like about 45% of the screen with momentum. Like with range you can also do the thingy where you can decrease your negative frame, so that's also applicable. The second hit of the auto combo is like unremarkable and really there's nothing to talk about. Like it's just there as a raw combo, like there's nothing there. Also I mean it doesn't even like catch jumping opponents or something, so I'm not sure what to talk about here. But also I forgot to mention the jab also has a really good like upward hitbox as well, so being able to catch like somewhere about jumping head opponents, so that's also one thing is going for it. So the jab is mediocre, not the best but not the worst either. But the second hit of the auto combo is just unremarkable. It also is -11 on blocks, so not really helping Super Police case anyway. So yeah, you can just forget about the button. It's just it's only used for true blockstring purposes or something. There's nothing, or I mean in combo purposes, because it like gives you like massive hit stun. You can do some really cool combos of super jump using this, and that's the only use case you have for this. Other than that, this never use this button. Onto the medium buttons, the standing medium is on the slower side, starting at 15 frames up close and unsafe on block at -11, which is very sad. But it has an impressive reach from being able to reach about from like 50% of the screen standing. Yeah, I'm not kidding. He can reach 50% of the screen standing, and also if you like distance it or like use it from its maximum distance, you can decrease the negative frames to -8. But it does not have any sort of like momentum shining, and like its maximum range is actually just 50% of the screen. You cannot increase its reach with momentum, which is just the sad thing, frankly speaking. Like it will just hit from like about 50% of the screen standing anyways, and that is the maximum range for this movie. It does not have the momentum thing that other characters get. Then onto the down medium. The down medium is actually faster than this light medium, but still very slow, starting at 14 frames and -7. Therefore also unsafe. Like immediate challenge gets caught, and it also has an impressive range of being able to reach from round start distance, and you can actually distance it to get like really good frames. Like up close is -7, but if you like make it reach from its maximum distance, you can decrease it to -4 frames actually. So that's also available, but like getting that thing is pretty hard, so don't count on that too much. And from on standing, it can reach from about like 30% of the screen, somewhere about 30% to 30% of the screen, but 35% of the screen, somewhere about that. And with momentum, it can reach to about and with momentum it can reach from about 45% of the screen. So that's like working in your favor, I guess. Consistently 45%, but luckily you might get 50% or something. But you can count it to hit from, like, if you do it from 45% of the screen with momentum. So that's about it. But the special thing about the special case about the down medium is that it's not a singular down medium, and there are actually 4 down mediums. So Broly actually has like follow-up down mediums, but as it is now, it is useless. I'll just frankly say it is useless, because like all of the follow-up crouching mediums, while having the same amount of disadvantage of -7, all of the other ones start at 21 frames. After 41 is 21 frames, so at that point they can just jump out. There's nothing to fear there. So like you either have to go for a hard hit with a command grab, or they can just simply avoid it, and it's like catastrophic to just whiff a button. Like it's 24 frames, they'll just go down with a super dash or heavy. Like there are really large heavies, or Vegito can just speed sword. So as it is now, it's like very very useless. But you can definitely stagger it to like get their preemptive jumps and get a hit on them, so they'll explode. So that's, I guess, working for Broly. But I'd say they should like decrease the second hit to like 17 frames or something, and not make it jumpable, maybe reflectable or something, but not jumpable. That way it is much more of a threat, because all of his buttons are unsafe and he's not able to stagger properly. So I really don't understand not giving him that amount of privilege. I mean, his damage is bonkers, but if you never hit them, then what's the point with damage? Just give him some more scaling, but I'd say they should fix this, or like rework this a bit. So yeah, that'll be it for that with the medium buttons. Another thing to note about the down mediums is that like you can do maximum of 2 down mediums, then you have another option to go into your standing medium if you already have introduced a standing medium. But if you do more than 2, you cannot go into your standing medium. Your standing medium is only available if you do only 2 crouching mediums, and then you can use the standing medium. But if you do more than 2, then your option is to just go to the heavy buttons, or key blast, or key blast heavy, etc., or even the headbutt. So that's I'd say a footnote that you should be careful of, or keep in mind as we go through it, and then go to the block strings. So we are going to do the heavy button. The heavy button is actually a pretty interesting one. It also has like armor, just like Broly as well, but it's a single hit armor, and it can also be charged. Its startup and normal startup at close, it's 15 frames and -16 on block, unsafe as every other heavy button in the game is. But the interesting thing about it is that it has a lot of range, and like standing it can reach from like 55% of the screen, which is like crazy. And with momentum it actually can go to 60% of the screen. Didn't mean to do that. Go to like about 60% of the screen, but the range does not increase that much with momentum, even with momentum, about like 65%, but that's about it. I'd say the maximum range for this move. The armor is only a single hit of armor. That means on occasions they can get through your armor, like but if they like try to challenge it with a button, like if during your charge, during your heavy charge, they somebody press a button, then the armor will actually just release by itself. Normally you can delay it to a really great extent, like to about 38 frames, but if you like are holding it and then somebody presses the button, then the move actually initiates itself. It takes charge and just does it. So that's also one thing, I guess you can one thing that the Super Broly does on itself. I don't know, it's a bit weird, but it is what it is. Every sort of projectile will counter this, so it's just a physical hit armor, and nothing more. That means only physical attacks. Even key blast and projectiles are out of the question. The down heavy also starts at 15 frames and is -14 on block, and unsurprisingly therefore unsafe, because heavy buttons are unsafe as the game normally goes. It also has like decent verticality of being able to reach somewhere about like bit below super jump height. On greater occasions you might get a like super jump height stuff, but it almost reaches the apex of the super jump height, but it's a bit below that. It's not exactly super jump height, so like hit confirmation you can get just a bit below the apex of super jump height. There's also a sort of like cast interaction thing with this, because like Super Bully does move in front of it, so like although it's not like as bad as like Super Saiyan for Gogeta, but Super Bully can also like have some cast interaction, but since it like reaches really far, it's also like not that bad. But cast interactions can definitely happen, like that I can guarantee. With Super Dasher, I'd say you'll be able to 2H it normally, and since it's got such a good height, you're more likely to hit the 2H than with it. But in the corner sometimes there might be issues there, I guess. Then onto the air buttons. The air buttons, frankly speaking, are just unremarkable. They are there for like just air button purposes. Like first off, all of them have like sword normal range, but all of them are so slow that you cannot really do the sword normal reactive stuff that you can do with super, like catching super or something. So like it's hard. Like it's really hard. Like the amount of time it just takes to like confirm and just do stuff. Like it's even though they're sword normal, but like since like it's much more slower, like the jumping light actually starts at 8 frames, then jumping medium 11, and the heavy 13. Heavy is on 15 actually. So like, and the heavy is actually pretty unremarkable as well. But it does have an air 2H, which is a command grab, starts at 13 frames actually. It doesn't have any sort of anti-air property, therefore even if you try to react to it, you're going to have to do a preemptive react and like not an exact react, because it doesn't have anti-air property to like help you on that. But you can definitely, I guess, catch them because it's 13 frames, so it's fast enough to like be able to do that, and you can then confirm. But the air buttons are not that good. Like I'd say it's harder than others. Like even if you like have like a smaller button but a faster jab, it's much more easier to do that. But since it's like much more slower, I'd say it's much more harder. But I think you can get used to it, so it's not that bad in that sense, I guess. So now I'll be moving on to the Blockstring ideas. So here will be some Blockstring ideas. I'll be silent and you guys can get some ideas from this.
Too slow, give me a break. Nice try. Too slow, give me a nice try. Too slow, give me a nice try. Nice try. Give me a break. Too slow, nice try. Give me a break. Too slow, nice try. Give me a break. Too slow, nice try. Too slow, too slow, too slow. Too slow, give me a break. Too slow, too slow, give me a nice try. Too slow, give me a break. Too slow, give me a nice.
Onto neutral, this area of Super Bowl is actually surprisingly decent. If you're on the air, you should just quickly come down with Raging Quake, preferably the medium or the EX variants. Therefore, even if they try to super dash, then you can definitely just catch them. Like if they're like if they try to do a ground super dash at you, grounded super dash, then you can just catch them like this, then go into a normal combo. So I'd say this is good on that occasion, but like medium is too slow and like they might like just catch you well there. But like if you're spaced enough, then I'd say a full screen, then you can just spam this move, frankly speaking, and grounded super dash will be caught most of the time. But if they like approach you from the air, then you can just pull, frankly speaking. So you be careful of that. But like if your opponent is grounded, then you should like always come down with it, then call assist to keep them in lockdown. I'd say that's the and just on the ground, he's got like a good set of key blasts, like 5 key blasts that he throws out at like 15 frames startup and up close to -7, as I just said. But like from full screen, you can definitely keep plus, but they're not like Z-Bully, and they don't have any sort of special property of like being able to go through other key blasts. They're like normal key blasts, so that also sucks for him. Of course, he also has his blaster cannon, which you can definitely do. Then immediately cancel into Raging Quake or something, because do not let it be, because it's -18 full screen. So they can definitely punish you with just a key blast or like super dash at you. Actually, even if they super dash at you, then you're still fine, because it is like after a key blast, so you can then charge your heavies and stuff. So you're not that bad, but always keep a sort of like a caution to you to like be able to cancel into Raging Quake or something else. Just be ready to do something after you've thrown out the blaster cannon. Then you also have your eraser blow, which is amazing because it catches up to super jump height, and so therefore you'll be able to catch super jumping opponent and then bring them down while you're still being plus, because it's pretty important. Because it's pretty important to be able to be plus after like getting them down, or you just I mean like not like UI Goku. So this is a much better aspect that Super Police thrives in. No, I mean if they are full screen, but you can then time yourself, so like to be able to hit the move. Yeah, be careful because it is avoidable, frankly speaking, and you, yeah, be careful of how you use that move. That's what I'm just going to say. And you can also like go for reads for like using the command grab and stuff. You know, the anti-air command grab got a good decent range. You can definitely catch the super dash items at you by using the EX variant or the medium variant. So yeah, his neutral is decent, but like it's definitely not the best one. And do try to keep your feet planted on the ground, and do not rely on this key blast. Just don't. It's an atrocious move. Just do not use it. Just use it for combos only. Even though it has like decent block stun and everything, and you can do stuff like that, but more often than not, it's really easy to punish. They just have to run up to you 2H or like avoid it, then super dash, and you won't be able to block, because like it has a humongous amount of recovery, and it doesn't even reach full screen. Like why doesn't it reach full screen? Like while it's throwing the key blast, it's -65. Then you got landing recovery of -10. Like it's an atrocious move. Just don't use it in neutral at all. Just don't. So yeah, that will conclude the neutral. So moving on to assist, first is the A assist, the Raging Quake. Shares the properties of the medium version of the move. Starts up at 35 frames up close and 36 frames of block stun. Pretty good. Both the physical hit and the quaking hit actually gives you 36 frames of block stun, therefore making it a beam-like assist. It shares every of the properties of the medium variant of the move. So like don't expect it to like work a bit differently this time around. You can definitely easily jump up with it and like stuff like that. And it's 35 frames, so it's not exactly the super assist type, but it's decent, and it has a decent enough hit stun of like 65 frames. Both the quake and the physical hit, both of them are 65 frames of hit stun, so you can definitely easily convert to stuff, I guess. But since it's a bit slow, you gotta get used to the timing. That's I guess the only caveat. Yeah, so it's a decent assist, but also it's a full screen assist. But during movement, if you like pass the full screen, I mean if Broly is behind the full screen mark, then the assist will not reach. So that's also one thing to note about. Then onto the B assist, I'd say this is probably his best assist in my opinion, but you are allowed to differ, because like in different use cases it works differently. But onto the B assist, eraser blow, it shares all of the move property except the normal hit armor, except the hit confirmation and having physical hit armor. It does still have the key blast armor though. It starts up at 25 frames and give you 30 frames of block stun, like a singular frame less than Dream assist. So it's pretty good, like faster than a beam, but giving you more block stun than a beam, or 30 frames of beam, whatever. Giving you beam like block stun is pretty good, but it's only up close, and like it can definitely still catch super jumping opponents, so that's also still there, and therefore giving you more block stun on that end. It still has the key blast invincibility, like its move. So it's still able to deflect key blast and incoming key blast as well. So that's also one thing it's got going for him. Since it's like since it is like able to like catch super jumping opponents like from full screen, and it still shares the caveat of not being able to like hit opponents that are like moving constantly. It's a bit of a problem since it's a single hit of like projectile. So since it's like able to catch super jumping opponents at full screen, then it's very easy to like able to avoid this assist, because like if you're close to it, then it won't hit, and like you can avoid it. And since it's like a GTA is like it's a beam, so it's much more easier to avoid than a beam. So that caveat is still there, but other than that, it's also got a like really good hit stun of like 75 frames, like the same as the Vegito A assist. So that's also a really good thing. So it's a like really good assist for combo station as well. And since it's fast, you don't really have to think about timing that much, because it starts up at 25 frames. Yeah, and that'll be it for the B assist. Onto the C assist. The C assist is a blaster cannon. It starts up at 35 frames, one of the fastest C assists, and like have 32 frames of block stun. Basically, it's like a normal beam assist, but with the downside of being a C assist. The unusual part about this assist is that like this assist does not stay for very long. But the unusual caveat about this is that it doesn't sometimes reach full screen, which is like a really weird thing for a beam assist. Runs out of beams, which I am really see, like it doesn't reach full screen sometimes, and like it runs out of beams, which you don't really get with other sort of beam assists. Like as they just continue even if you don't run up to them or something. But with Broly's beam, it's a bit weird. So that's the part I like have like a bit confusion about as to why that happens. As you can see, like the beam's still there, but like if I do the same with Broly, it just runs out and it doesn't reach more than full screen. So that's a bad caveat about the assist. So yeah, I really don't recommend this assist. These A and B are much more better, and without the cooldown of C assist to be able to use that. But if you do need help of the C assist, then it's up to you. So with all of that, that's Super Broly's character breakdown finished. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Hopefully you guys learned something from it. And if you did, please leave a like, consider subscribing for more character breakdowns. I still haven't finished that roster. And do check out some of the previous ones as well. You know that they have the deep in quality and production sometimes, but you know it's tough being doing it all alone. But hopefully you guys did enjoy that, and please show your support by liking and commenting. That will help me out because the algorithm likes that. And yeah, thank you. But nonetheless, thank you so much for your time. And now you enjoy the combo section. I'll be taking my leave. Come back for the next video, and I'll see you in the next one. Allah Hafiz. Assalamu alaikum.
before.